Linda Ronstadt was one of the most coveted women on the planet during her prime. Governors and industry giants are at her beck and call, but somehow she never got married. Why? Conventional reasoning might push you to think it's because of the demands of her career or her desire to continue to stay at the top. But the real shocking reason why she never got married has remained hidden for a long time until now. So what is it? Let's find out. Ronstadt is counted among the few women who have always had opportunities to settle down with any of the leading industry men, but they hesitate because they feel that there is still time to play around. And when they were finally ready, not as many men found them desirable. It is a debate today that Linda's reasons for announcing that marriage is not her cup of tea are excuses of a woman who wasted the years she should have truly gone after what she wanted. She is 77 years old, so there are not very many options left for her. Ronstadt, in her prime, had all the qualities that placed her right at the top of the most desirable women in the industry. She was beautiful and talented, and she had that voice that any man would want to hear right before he goes to bed. But each time a man she deeply loved would go down on one knee in front of her, Ronstadt immediately found him unattractive. And that was the case with music producer John Boylan. The thing with her relationship with Boylan was that it had all the potential of a happily ever after, but unfortunately, Boylan was friend-zoned right after he expressed his desire to marry the singer. Linda felt too young to start a family of her own. The pair met for the first time in the late 60s when John became Ronstadt's manager and producer. Their relationship was all that they could dream of. It blossomed and catalyzed Linda's breakthrough as a musician through their remarkable collaborations. Boylan understood perfectly how to market Ronstadt's talent to showcase her remarkable vocal skills and versatility. Some of their most popular collaborations include the 1974 Heart Like a Wheel, Prisoner in Disguise, and Simple Dreams. These albums were Linda's ticket to stardom, and it was only right that she and John would move in together, for more productive collaborations. But this destroyed everything. Under the same roof, Linda experienced firsthand the realities of commitment to one man, and she couldn't endure all of it for so long. She ended the romance, and we all believed her when she said that she was just not compatible with the music producer. But the later years of her life would reveal just why Linda was scared of saying yes to John and the other men she would meet after him. In an interview with New York Times, Ronstadt reveals that she identifies with the character of her 1967 song Different Drum, which revolves around a woman who cannot be tamed by a man. "That's me," Ronstadt said. "I thought I was too young for marriage or anything resembling it, and I continued to feel that way until I had children of my own. Having children makes you grow up." And even with her adopted children, Ronstadt doesn't exactly feel grown up and in control, as she confessed. She soon cried out for help as the demands of motherhood almost drowned her. According to her, she wishes that there was a handbook that came with being a single parent and how it would be nice to follow it to get guaranteed results without mistakes. If only life had worked like that, maybe she would have also tried to punch the working buttons in her relationships and get the fairy tale ending she truly wanted. Fame is a very tricky reality. It keeps Ronstadt in the illusion that you will always be at the top while time slips without her knowledge. In the end, she was frustrated at all the opportunities she had let slip because she felt that she was too young for marriage. This is generally believed to be Linda's deepest regret. Choosing music over lasting love seems like an easy escape for her. She kept herself busy in the studio to hide that she was truly lonely, but life came with Parkinson's disease, which stole her voice and exposed Linda's deepest regrets. Ronstadt, lamenting on the life she chose, said, "The great thing about having a hit is that it means people like you, but the bad thing about it is that you have to sing that song over and over and over again, night after night, till it starts sounding like your washing machine." With the dissatisfaction that could be sensed from Ronstadt's voice, she would most probably make a different choice if she had the opportunity to go back in time. But it is what it is, and this is what she had to deal with. After her relationship with John ended, they continued to maintain friendship and even worked on several other projects. Ronstadt also confessed that she is still in touch with all of her past lovers, but can't explain why they can't get over her. At the end of that interview, the American singer concluded that she was just not cut out to be somebody's wife. But she did admit that as a child, she longed for the day when she walked down the aisle with the man of her dreams. But this was just part of the many things that fame stole from her. She claimed that this was the major reason why she rejected every man, but a deeper look revealed that there was more to it. And the next reason could be the major problem. How? Well, another unpopular reason why Linda Ronstadt refused marriage to anyone was that the American singer was not ready to lower her standards. And she raised the bar so high that it was almost impossible to tick all her boxes. I don't like to compromise. If I want a pink sofa and somebody doesn't want a pink sofa, I'm not going to go for that. I want the pink sofa. Linda Ronstadt, a man who got so close to satisfying almost all of Linda's impossible urges, was former California Governor Jerry Brown. To confirm the rumors, Ronstadt herself, after their relationship ended, confessed that Jerry was different from all the other men she met in rock and roll, and it was so unfortunate that they had to part ways. The pair met for the first time during one of her performances in the early days of her career in Los Angeles. At the time, Brown was an ex-seminarian and a political philosopher, and Ronstadt was just an 18-year-old with the dream of cracking the top 10. Everything was fine until Jerry became governor, and then the media turned their private lives into headlines. Of course, this made Linda very uncomfortable, but she stayed with the governor because she really loved him. Even close friends would reveal that Jerry was one man with whom Ronstadt was so close to tying the knot. Marrying Jerry is an urge that comes to her periodically, one of her close friends shared. But the governor, at some point, was not so sure if he could settle down with a lady like Linda Ronstadt. He believed that marriage with the singer would cost him his position in the White House. At the peak of their romance, Linda was affiliated with a lot of men in the industry, but John didn't have clean hands. He was once accused of being homosexual because he was attractive and still chose to remain single. Jerry, in an attempt to clear his name, stated that he only wanted to marry a lady who was fully interested in politics and also had no problem with being a stay-at-home wife. This was not exactly in Linda Ronstadt's plans, and although they loved each other very much, a breakup was imminent. In her 2023 memoir, Ronstadt wrote, "I would have found his life too restrictive, and he would have found mine entirely chaotic. Eventually, we went our separate ways and embraced things that resonated with us as different individuals." Although now in different worlds, Linda claims that she has never been too far away from her former boyfriend, but they were both now living different lives. Jerry Brown recently celebrated 19 years of marital bliss with his wife, Ann Gust, former chief administrative officer for The Gap. A part of Linda knows that this could have been her, but she was never going to be a housewife, not even to the governor. So once again, music denied her a shot at happily ever after, but she didn't seem to care so much. She loved Jerry, but no man could put her in a cage, and for all that, she was more than willing to let him go. Interestingly, Ann Gust did not turn out to be the housewife Ronstadt was so despised. She is involved in so many other things, from business to politics, but Jerry thought that life would be perfect for the iconic singer and that it would be enough for her to say goodbye. But the truth is, it would have been easier on Linda if these are the only two reasons why she never got married. But they are not. Another major reason is something that has to do with her psyche. Linda doesn't talk about this very often, but another reason why she chose to remain unmarried is because of a few unforgettable events that happened to her when she was much younger. These events would further cement her beliefs that she doesn't need to get married to a man for anything, even though she wanted kids of her own. During her time with the Stony Ponies, Linda was required to travel from Los Angeles to Nashville for the Johnny Cash show, where she booked a duet with the Man in Black himself. She arrived and was checked into a hotel. Ronstadt recalled that she spent most of the evening in the warm company of musicians like Chris Christopherson and Mickey Newbury. After a very casual performance together, Linda retired to her room in the same hotel, and that was when the tragic event happened. She got a call that one of the show producers needed to go over a few notes with her in his room. This tipped off Ronstadt's alarms, but there was not so much she could do as she had to respect her hosts, and she was going to regret this. In his room, as Ronstadt narrates in her memoir, the director is stark naked and has a terrible hunger in his eyes. According to Linda, he had thought that she was a hippie, and that meant she believed in free love. But as it seemed, it was just too late to convince him that she was not. Ronstadt threatened to call security, but the producers reminded her that no one would believe her as she appeared dressed for the occasion. Ronstadt wore jeans and a panty girdle with no bra on and her long, straight hair flown backwards. This happened in her obscure days so she wouldn't be recognized. It was a kill or be killed situation, but Ronstadt managed to escape unharmed and unmolested. But she left that room as a changed woman. The picture of what had happened was not going to leave her mind for a very long time, and this would affect her relationship with the men she attempted to build a family with. And unfortunately, this was not going to be the last time something like this was going to happen. Linda described the industry as a nightmare for a young woman who wants to be serious with her music. That even after achieving significant success in her career, the attacks were not going to stop. During Stony Pony's tour with the American rock band The Doors, Linda described that she was sexually harassed by a drunk and belligerent Jim Morrison. This traumatized her, and so she kept it to herself. But when she was finally ready to talk to someone, she would go to the person who would cause even more problems. Ronstadt finally opened up to Neil Young, and in her memoir, she writes that Neil's keyboardist took advantage of this and was going to emotionally abuse her for weeks. It's hard for a woman to go through all of these and still be open to the idea of spending forever with a man who might have this potential. There was so much to consider, and divorce just didn't sound like a very colorful option to her due to her background and upbringing. Linda was raised as a Roman Catholic, and their practices frown at divorces and broken marriages. This was part of the reason why Linda decided to take her time to wait for the right man, only if she knew that it would take almost 4 decades and she still hadn't found the right one yet. It would be unfair to blame Ronstadt for any of these misfortunes, as she entered the industry without any help or support. It was just her guitar, and the fiery desire to promote her sounds. Linda counts herself lucky for even getting this far, as the odds were always against her. There are always predators around, and you have to keep an eye out for them, Ronstadt concluded. Following this many harassment and abuse cases, Linda's fear of the uncertainties of a long-term commitment got worse. She just doesn't believe that anyone could stay the same forever, and the worst of them all are people living under the same roof. Why can't people just get married and stay married, Ronstadt shared. I mean, you love somebody and you just want to stay married. It just is not that way. You are subjected to so much information all the time that you just change all the time. We don't know so much about Linda's parents' marriage, but people believe that it didn't lay a good enough model for Linda to want to follow as an adult. Ronstadt rarely talks about the situation of things back home. All we can say for sure is that she had very little support when she decided to choose music as a career. And her first official romance with John Boylan was unfortunately not strong enough to change her mind. After her relationship with Boylan ended, Linda started another steamy romance with fellow musician and songwriter J.D. Souther. But this was going to leave an even bigger hole in her heart after a nasty breakup. Ronstadt met Souther for the first time in 1972 in Los Angeles during one of her performances. He was mesmerized by her voice and wanted to be friends immediately. Linda fell for his charm, and soon they became romantic partners. Together, they worked on many successful projects, including Faithless Love and Prisoner in Disguise. They looked good together and sounded even better. But unfortunately, Linda's insecurities about commitments were going to tear them apart. After 2 years of trying to make it work, Souther gave up and went for another lady in music, Stevie Nicks. This broke Linda's heart, but she learned to live with it. The duo continued to work on projects even after their breakup, and Souther confessed that he had nothing but deep respect for Ronstadt's art. Another strong argument on the reason for their abrupt breakup was that Linda felt threatened by the way Souther was attractive and available to many other women. She strongly believed that this was going to get a lot worse if they got married. At the end of it, Linda's fame was her curse and the major reason why she didn't consider marriage. The people you come in contact with are other musicians, and everybody's really competitive. Linda opened up on her relationship troubles with leading industry men. Trying a different industry seemed like the next logical thing to do after this, so Linda cast her net in the acting industry. She found love in the arms of American actor and director Albert Brooks, and just so the media doesn't jinx it this time, she kept it private. But unfortunately, it still didn't last. They separated after their first few months together. She tried again in the same industry and was hooked up with award-winning filmmaker George Lucas. Lucas treated her differently, and although this didn't work out for a few reasons you should be familiar with at this time, Ronstadt kept in touch with her ex. Her final public attempt at happily ever after was with American singer Aaron Neville. They collaborated on many successful projects like Cry Like a Rainstorm, All My Life, and Don't Know Much, which earned them a Grammy Award. Her fans wanted to see it happen. Neville's fans also wanted to see it happen. And the couple, in all fairness, tried their best, but this just wasn't it. They were even dubbed the first couple of pop songs, but that wasn't going to make Linda's insecurities go away. Their love story came to an end in 1992, and Linda, ever since, has not been very enthusiastic about giving love another chance. Her deep love for children made her consider adoption in 1990, hoping that it would help fill the void that a partner would have. Well, maybe that worked, maybe it didn't. But Linda Ronstadt walks today with her shoulders high like a woman who is proud of all the decisions she has made. I know she blames those traumatic experiences for being the reason why she didn't get married. But from the way I look at it, even in a perfect world, Linda was still too busy to build a home. We've seen it happen with other celebrities who had easier lives. The demands of their career were never easy to juggle with building a home. In all of her excuses, Ronstadt might just have been too busy for marriage, a successful career, or a happy marriage, and we know the one Ronstadt went with. In raising her adopted children, Linda admits that it was even tougher than she had expected. She was only able to handle it better after she was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 2012. Her condition forced her to become a stay-at-home mom, as she couldn't sing or perform again. Linda struggled to do minor things like brushing her teeth, and she needed a wheelchair or walking stick to cover long distances. While comfort from a romantic partner was far-fetched at this time, Linda received overwhelming support and love from her fans worldwide. In 2014, she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and received the Medal of Arts from former President Barack Obama, as they all feared that her time of death was close. It was such a pleasant surprise to see her make a turnaround by 2018 as she accepted public invitations to speak about her life and experience with the disease. Ronstadt has accepted all that life brought to her with good faith, even though she might never be able to hold the microphone again. Linda Ronstadt, now 77 years old, is living life at a much slower pace. While Linda might never be able to find love as she wants, she remains grateful that she pursued the life of her dreams and was the absolute best at it. She relinquishes old age in her mansions in San Francisco with her children. The iconic singer has an estimated net worth of $130 million. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our other videos of beautiful actresses from the yesteryears on the end screen.